Welcome to another episode of Dirty Habits podcast. Today we have Theo Erlangsen and Mcduff with us. We are at the Darkfest and the boys have just finished up a morning session. They're going to be going for an afternoon session. So we quickly sat down with them to speak all things big air, mountain biking, injuries, mindset, and of course Matt's legendary 40-foot ejection out of a loop. So let's get stuck into the podcast. Thanks for watching. Yeah, welcome to the Dirty Habits podcast. We haven't done too many of these yet, but we thought we'd start with some of the biggest legends we know in action sports. I think it'll be appropriate if...
Both of us look at each other like, oh, really?
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Like you and I've never met before, but obviously know Theo for a couple of years now from these hills, but also from kiteboarding. So it's been interesting getting him in a different sport. But since Theo knows Matt, maybe you can give us a little intro.
Yeah, actually, maybe, let me touch up on my Matt info. But yeah, Matt is such an original big air monster. Like, when they were doing the first Pure Darknesses in Neisner, Matt was like one of the founding fathers, and he went mental there doing like, still stuff on hardtail bikes, still when they were kind of still like slopestyle people. And they just did like these huge step ups and stuff on the hardtail bikes, and then kind of just built it bigger and bigger to the point that everyone was like, you actually need like a downhill bike that's just tuned differently for this. And then Matt also fucking did the world's gnarliest loop-to-loop attempt.
Wow.
Like, I think that's still one of the most insane things. I watched it there, and it was probably the craziest thing I've ever watched.
Were you there when it happened?
Yeah, dude, he built, you'll know the radius or whatever, but like the world's biggest attempted like round loop.
Well, it's 40 foot, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And literally went up and shot out the other side, and he landed from my field of view behind a landing, and I was like, oh my God, he is 100% dead. It was so hectic.
Give a lot of people PTSD.
But one of the sickest things since then, obviously injured his wrist and a couple of things pretty badly, but like through a bit of time and with like Vummer, you've actually like come back stronger. I remember even a couple of years ago, I've literally trained myself with ice bath, and I've like trained everything to like literally be stronger. Mm-hmm. And now he's been back for the last few years doing some Darkfest stuff and killing it, and he's like, I don't know, just like the mascot of Big Air.
Wow, thanks. That was really nice intro.
And yeah, he's the hairdresser for Darkfest. We'll put that one on top.
Well, obviously you got the best hairstyle of all the guys.
Yeah, I mean, I can't take the credit. My girl did it, but yeah, hair is important here.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny.
Big hair.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, like being one of the founding fathers or whatever, but it feels like that there's still so much work to do. That there's, you know what I mean, that was so long ago, but there's still so much work to do.
Yeah, but I mean, when was the first year when you were like, okay, I want to like, make some bigger stuff that nobody's ever thought of,
I don't know.
Nobody was really like, your first step up was like revolutionary of like, oh my God, look what these guys are doing.
As you said, the bikes weren't even ready for it back
No,
then.
dude, they were riding the worst bikes ever for it.
Yeah.
And they still, I think, to touch, they didn't really even know what you're doing. Like now, like claimants and these guys can do such good artwork with a digger loader that nobody even needs a spade.
Well, we didn't even know that was possible.
But nobody knew that was possible. They just got like a pilot to just pile 2 huge mounds of dirt, and then they slapped it for like days and days and days and days, and slapped the whole thing like by hand, which is like, now you would never do that.
And then one of our Big Air founding fathers, Nico Vink, figured out that you could do it with excavators, and that was game changing.
Now we pretty much crank this whole course with excavators and like everything.
It's really cool. Oh.
Yeah, so you can't build a 40-foot loop out with the excavator.
Yeah, I know, that was a big wood
No, that
project.
was wood, and that's another really cool thing about what we do is like the whole building aspect. It's so exciting, and sometimes you're building stuff out of wood. Like some of the big structures like that loop, like nothing had been built like that. Like humans weren't, they were building wooden structures that tall to like siege castles like back in the day, So it's cool seeing like big wooden structures like that. It just gets you fired up.
And you're trailblazing in a different industry.
Maybe, yeah, in the building one. pretty cool.
You do actually a whole lot of building now, eh?
Yeah, I do a lot of building, but it's just so fun. I don't know which one I like better, you know, the building or the riding. I think both. Good mix of both is good, eh?
But I would love to still be able to have that like kind of art of like being able to work with the excavator, because it's basically like having a hugely powerful arm and you just like.
It is.
So like it would be sick. I can imagine it must be so sick to like just look at a hill and be like, okay, I want to do that, and then just like make it happen, you know?
It is sick. Like in your sport, like, you know, you kind of, the ocean dictates like what's going on, so you're always like adapting to it. In our sport, it's so cool. It's like we get to like fully like create something in our mind, and then like the land is kind of like, you know, our paint brush, you know, our canvas, and we just get to like cut these ideas right out, and we can really control conditions. Like we're creating an environment out there, you know. And in terms of your sport, it's like you're just in the environment. Like maybe like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you could hit like a certain jump or whatever, you might not hit a jump like that ever again.
No, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And there's so many different elements.
That's so insane.
I know exactly what you're doing. I don't really know how to jump quite consistently on a kiteboard. So like there's a whole art, like you like fly the kite there, and then when you want to jump, you fly it up and then you like pop off.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly how to do it. So like sometimes I'll be like, oh, and I'll pull for a huge jump and I'll go like 2 meters and I just didn't do it right. And then sometimes I like crank the kite and you're like, oh boy, you just like fly up. And I don't really know which one's coming when I do it.
Like,
I'm like, oh.
And then like maybe you just never come down.
You come down.
No, you always come down. It just depends how softly you come down.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if the kite's not in the right place, you're pretty much just falling.
You're just falling.
But it's water. It's not
Yeah,
dirt.
it is. Do you know how?
But you got the board underneath you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can flick that away.
But a lot of guys, and especially in freestyle, is you ride with boots on. So often you don't have time to kick the board off. So a couple of the guys now just snap their knees, ankles, all that kind of stuff, just landing on the top of the board.
Jesus. Gnarly.
You guys can't really chicken out, and once you hit a jump, you fully committed to it.
Yeah,
It is,
pretty much. There's a point in the run-in that you like just commit to something, you know.
And
Do you know?
Oh,
sorry.
I was gonna say there's another problem too, is when we're learning new tricks, it's a level of commitment. You know, like if you're gonna pull for your first flip on something that you never flipped before,
Yeah.
you like don't know. Sometimes you're like, am I gonna land in my head? Am I gonna land it perfect? And you just kind of like gotta have a super strong belief in yourself and just fully commit to that, which is so gnarly. That's like really gnarly. Yeah. Yeah.
So is there a point where you know that you're going to crash? Like once you leave, where you're like, I'm not going to make it, or my body's not the right the position, or does it kind of surprise you at the end?
Big air will surprise you for sure, eh?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can on
big
these
airs.
jumps. If you just do the slightest kind of miss you know thing, you can land yourself in a spot of trouble. But I say at least like if you're gonna have a crash, you'll be crashing and you'll have like near to the end or whatever, you'll be like, okay, this is, ooh, and then I go into like, you know, fight or flight mode. You try to save it any which way you can, whatever, and try crash nicely or whatever. But you've got a good second of like, maybe we can muscle this one out.
Yeah, like in big air, like you think you can feel the crash coming on, it just doesn't like come at you. It like,
yeah,
you feel it and then you're in it, and then sometimes you can correct it. That's how long it takes before you crash.
Because almost like, that's gnarly.
Does that make sense? Yeah,
it's almost like time slows down when things are going wrong.
Yeah,
it's like,
no, time's not slowing down. You're just in the air for so long.
What was going through your mind when you were like 40 foot in the air, and now it's almost like you were on your way up, and then there's a point where you stopped going up, and then you were just coming straight down?
Oh, on the loop.
Yeah.
Man, but all of that, like, you know, I thought I was dead for sure when I like went out of it, and I was like, dude, you killed yourself. Like fucking idiot. And then no, like seriously, that's exactly what I was thinking. And then when I like saw the ground, I knew I was gonna like survive, but I wasn't sure if I would have my legs, you know, like if I would be paralyzed or whatever. And then hit the ground, and it's crazy. I remember it all, like hitting the ground and just being like looking at my toes and just being wiggled one, and I was like sick. Looked at my arm and was like, oh. But at least I could move my feet. I was just so grateful, and I also felt really selfish. Felt really selfish because I realized like I put I had all my friends there, you know, he was there, and I just gave like 100 people PTSD.
Wow. And yourself? Did you give yourself PTSD?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like when you hit the ground like that violently, you know, it affects you mentally for sure. It changed my whole life.
I've seen since then you've done a couple, I mean, you obviously, if you don't know, Matt hosts his own podcast also. And I think that's the first time I came across your name is when I was searching mental health in extreme sports.
Really?
And then
Wow.
I watched, who's the snowboarder, the American snowboarder, who did X Games. He does a lot of mental health content also. His name and your name popped up.
Oh, Dumont.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I listened to one of your podcasts, and it seems like that was quite a big turning point in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, yeah. It's crazy. And you guys can check out the content and stuff because I feel like I talk about it a lot, but it's, yeah, it totally, moments like that change you, man, forever. Simon is an insane guy. He's big air. He holds the ski height record in a quarter pipe.
Oh, yo.
Dude, insane.
That's savage.
Completely insane. He talks about that day and like everything, and it's just like, what the hell? What kind of, I have a question, man, for you. Like, what kind of records do you guys go for? You know, like, you know, here, like in mountain biking, like big air, it's like distance is a big one, biggest flip, biggest front flip, like highest, there's no real height, but like, but definitely biggest jumps. I'd be curious to hear about that.
It's complicated because it's like so many variables that you can't really do records because there's not like always a defining takeoff point and a defining landing point. There is like an airtime record which has to be done on video, and I think, man, it used to be like 22 seconds, but I think since then, yeah.
But is that when they're looping it at the top and staying
That's
up?
usually when there's like a different type of wind system, when there's like something happening with a thermal or something. So they jump up and then they reach their peak and they come down, but they just don't come down. They keep on getting just helicopter spinning and just going. It's normally non-intentional when you're going like more than 20 seconds. But the problem is, which is weird about kiting, is you got a lot of time to think about tricks when you're up there. For 22 seconds.
Should I take a handle?
Dude, you're doing a full choreographed dance at that point.
Yeah. And the problem also is you don't know where you're landing, because when you jump, like as the winds change, sometimes you can go a lot further than you want to. So as you're going on your way down, you're like, I'm going to land there. And then you're like, no, I'm going to go a little bit further. And then you do another loop and you go and you keep on going another 5 meters and another 5 meters. And sometimes it's like an onshore spot where there's a beach coming towards you or rocks coming towards you. And he's like, I want to come down now. Or another kiter, because it's not like you guys are in single file all on the same path. Whereas in kiting, you have like hundreds of people crossing each other.
Three-dimensional.
Even in an event, you've got 4 guys in a arena.
Yeah, dude.
And you'll be jumping and you just like see a guy pass and you're like, oh, I might make it over him or I might land in front of him. You're like, oh, actually, I might land on top of him. And then you miss each other by like that much.
I still don't even know how to like heli loop down to a soft landing. I'm just like,
Next summer, we'll get you on the mega loops next summer.
But dude, it's not, these guys literally like take off, like on like a King of the Air day, they literally like take off there and then do like a massive like kite loop and then like fly like 250 meters down the beach and land and then tack back up and do it. Like they are
It's amazing.
mental.
It's super fun. You got Teo's hitting 110-foot jumps here. And every time we talk, he's just like terrified of kiting. And it's like, man, this is so scary.
Can I tell you what one good thing about kiting was? Do you know how nice it was to learn a sport that's not when you crash on gravel? Kiteboarding, when you learn, I was just going, bang, and just being like water. Like
Water can hurt too, no?
It can hurt, but like you got to be going like fast or going high, and you need to be good to like do that. So I was just like slamming when I was learning to kiting, just like laughing. Like when I learned to back roll, I literally just turned around and they would just loop the kite and like yank like so far and just like ragdoll on top of the water and just stand up and be like, ha. And then like here, like when you learn mountain biking, if you like crash, you just roasty your arm or something like that. It's so crap.
You know, mountain biking's underneath base jumping if you get insurance.
Wow.
Yeah. It's travel insurance. It's rock climbing and skydiving and base jumping. They're like in the one category, and then the next category is mountain biking.
Yeah, I don't think my Discovery thinks that I just do normal I think my Discovery thinks I do normal mountain biking.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty mad because when these guys have big injuries and stuff, it's quite a huge expense because sometimes you can't cover it because if it happens at an event or something, they know you're a professional.
Well,
So,
you got to get insurance, no?
Yeah.
Like we all have, like I got really good health
like, dude,
insurance.
even in America, isn't the medical bills there insanely high?
They are insane, but you just get travel insurance.
Yeah.
I would say
Most
most
people
of,
in South Africa have travel. I mean, medical aid and stuff.
most of the pro karters I know don't have. I'd say a handful of them have actual proper insurance as competing as a professional. The rest of them have something else, and then they end up with these massive bills afterwards
Yeah.
Oh, fuck,
that they have
that's
to
terrible.
pay for, or sponsors don't always pay for them.
Yeah, like they can be really expensive. Like the last injury I did, I broke my collarbone and scaphoid actually right before this event, and it was like probably cost about $5,000 to get back, but I got back in 6 weeks.
Yo.
And I got 10 pounds of muscle on me through the recovery, which is like that's insane. That was, for me, it was worth it.
Like get injured, come back ripped.
Yeah, literally.
It's amazing how focused you can be after an injury, because
Yes.
you almost come back, like you take it for granted. You take your health and your like physical fitness and stuff for granted, and then you have to come back and work so much harder to get back where you are again.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I
don't know
think
how
you
some
like
guys do it.
whenever I even have like a crash or something like that, I also go instantly into like okay, like now why don't you just focus everything on getting that better, and like ice bathing and saunaing and this and that. Like why not just get it better the best way you can, as fast as you can, you know? Like if you're gonna not be able to do anything else, channel all of that into getting better as quick as you can.
But I feel like that's kind of changing. I mean, Matt, how long have you been in the sport for?
Man, 10 years, I think. Yeah, no, 10 or 11 years professionally.
And like back then, well, it's not that long ago, but I feel like there wasn't so much support or like mindset around like fitness. Like younger riders are more of athletes now. Like I look at all the guys competing in the King of the Air. They're like 16, 17. They're full on athletes, going to the gym in the morning, getting 3 sessions in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was doing the King of the Air, we were just partying every night and then sessioning together the next day, and that was pretty much it.
It's pretty sick to see the younger generation. They inspire me a lot, like seeing what they're doing. And like, it's funny because like, I feel like when I came in, it was like I saw a lot of older guys partying and like just the most insane party stories ever. And then like, you think that that's how a professional athlete needs to act. And then kind of there was a couple guys just coming in with like a complete opposite approach, hey, and just outperforming everyone. And like over time, everyone's just kind of cluing into that. And now the youth is like totally dialed. Like these guys in here, like, you know, it's totally dialed. Like the parties are, they still turn up, but there's like maybe only 1 or 2 instead of like every night. And which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. And their fitness is way better, you know? You can tell. And they ride insane, you can tell by the level.
Dude, the World Cup
level's
guys,
insane.
the World Cup guys that I ride with now are like ridiculously
Yeah, that's like another sport though. Like I would categorize like in mountain biking, there's like every genre is a different sport. We got like dirt jumping, hardtails, yeah, enduro,
marathon, even like long distance mountain biking, enduro.
Are there any World Cup guys in this event?
Cade.
Yeah, Cade.
Just Cade and I, yeah. Cade and I. But Chaos used to race World Cups, and then just this last year he was like, nah, I'm done with it. Because it is like, so like if you're not like 110, like the World Cup guys are training like savagely 6 days a week, and then going for like a team camp once a month at like some place and just riding the pants off their downhill bikes and like testing settings and all new things on their bikes and stuff. So you have to be so dialed in for World Cups.
But you're a World Cup, right? You're actually going to the World Cup after this.
Yeah, literally. Go there, yeah. But
how's your training going?
Training's been paused this week. Wouldn't say I've had a test camp in a while, if I'm honest.
Darkfest is a nice test camp.
But yeah, it actually is though, because when I do this stuff, then I walk into World Cup, I'm like, "Pow, look at that jump!" Yeah. Whatever, guys, get out of here.
Man, this year's event, Darkfest, has just been so insane. Like we're just not even halfway, like 1/3 through the event, and
Wednesday
we've already had like such big milestones for the sport. Like we had ladies do full top to bottom.
Yeah.
We had a woman backflip, which is insane on one of the biggest jumps.
Yeah.
Which jump was that on?
That was insane to step up.
Yeah.
110-foot jump jumped in a course and then backflipped
Yeah.
multiple times. Like
Wow.
the progression is just insane. We even have new tricks, like
So
couple new
110
tricks.
foot backflip.
Haji,
like they
Haji
trained it
and
together.
Istead dropped in at the. Did he hit it a few times? He hadn't flipped it yet.
Yeah, I didn't flip it yet.
And then Haji followed Istead through. They both cleared it. And Haji said in the air, he was like, "That's the sickest jump ever. I could easily flip it." Went back up again, and him and Istead like flipped on a train through. And it was his second
Yeah,
time hitting the
and
110.
this morning we saw maybe 5 flips. So like it's insane. The level
BNB
that this
flipped it
event,
this morning.
this
And
event
we're only
just-
halfway through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this event just takes it to another level, man.
Last year we had
Sick
like
for mountain
in
biking.
previous years there was like so much wind, like almost like the whole second half of the week was windy and like got like a little bit of riding in. I think I've honestly done like 30 top to bottom laps now, and it's like Wednesday. I obviously started riding on like Friday or Saturday or whatever, and like this is the most Darkfest I've ever ridden. Literally just thinking of like ways we can upgrade the track now.
It's crazy for us because we come here, we ride this, and then the rest of the year is nothing like this. Like this is like
so boring
the
doing a
only
trail ride
big
after this.
yeah, this is like the only big air spot.
Yeah. And these are like, I honestly think these are like pretty much the sickest like big air dirt jumps in the world. Like
Yeah.
there's no line that
Yeah.
like goes like in and out of a valley, into step ups, into step downs, into rocket launches.
Riding it is insane.
It's like
like a roller coaster.
Like it literally like, or like, you know when you go on like a super tubes when you're a
Yeah.
kid and you're like super tubing down like a water park or whatever. It's like that, but you can have some freedom to like crank some of your own little spicy style on top, and it just like
When I'm going through your GoPro footage after your sessions, I'm sitting on my computer like fucking ducking and going.
it's honestly
No.
like to lap this now is like just ludicrous. Like it's so hard to literally go back to Cape Town and go for like a trail ride on your local trail. It is
Must be
so,
so
so
boring.
Last year I was depressed for maybe 2.5 months after this event.
Wow.
I didn't even want to ride nothing. Seriously.
Because you must just peak so high. Like this is just such a.
It's like,
Like,
somebody just
everything
going
just
like,
ends.
okay, it's
What
like
is-
50 knots Blowberg, huge swell, great period. You're just like launching, and then somebody's like, okay, go flat water in Longabon. You'd be like, no.
I can't do it for 5 minutes. I'm like, what is this shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
is that something that you feel like if you reach these peaks that has to be a down afterwards?
I think actually also after the week, like by the time Saturday's finished, I am cooked. Like sometimes people ask me like, oh, why don't you just leave the jumps open and ride them all year? And it's actually quite hard to explain that it's not like a all year, like you can't just like cruise into these jumps and like rip a lap. Like you might be able to if you like a mad dog or whatever, but like during the event week, like there's walkie-talkies everywhere. You can get wind checks all over the course. If something goes wrong, there's an ambulance on standby. Like everything's like dialed in. There's shuttles running, and like once you've ridden these jumps, like mate, like the whole week from like Saturday to Saturday, you actually just want a couple of days off, and you're like, okay, let me just like chill with some Netflix or something. Like, oh my god, like you need to chill. And then, then it's back. Then it's hard to get back into that, like, okay, let's ride these jumps again, you know?
Yeah.
But this is actually the most comfortable I've felt in all the Darkfest. Like, now I'm, like, lapping the 90-footer, like, chilling into it, T-bogging and, like, cruising it, which is also dangerous. can't get too comfortable. But, I think if this was just a little bit smaller or whatever, you could make it, like, a daily lapping course or whatever. Like now, you would happily lap the Hell's End line all the time. But also, then like a gust of wind comes and it's a fuck up and this and that, so, you know.
Matt, what is the mindset you have to get into before when you're standing on the top of the, what you call the hut, up at the hut there, when you're standing there, what mindset you have to get into before you drop in?
I think you just need to relax, you know. Yeah, a lot of people get up there and you get like too fidgety or whatever. You just got to relax. And I mean, for everyone it's different. Like some guys are up there and they're like yelling, getting like all fired up, you know, and they like feed off of that like powerful like energy. And then other guys are just kind of breathing and taking it real slow. Some guys are like doing a couple like box jumps before, you know, getting on. Some guys do some push-ups, but it's different mindset for everybody. Like, but I don't know, personally for me, I just try to relax and just, you know, just have fun, feel the bike, feel the air.
And when you get down to the bottom, how different is that? Is that mind space when you finish your run?
So good. It depends what kind of run you have, but if you have like an insane run, when you get to the bottom, it's a peak.
It's literally the best, man.
Well, Bienve today was down to the bottom, and we were just halfway up with the shuttle rig, and you could hear him screaming.
I think they could hear me screaming in Franschhoek when I did that 110 route.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about it, you know, that feeling. And it's cool in mountain biking, at least, like that feeling, it's like different for everyone, you know. We get that feeling on those jumps because we've been riding for years.
Yeah.
But like some people just jump a small jump and they have that same feeling,
Literally.
you know? Yeah, which is why I think people relate to Darkfest.
Yes.
A lot.
How awesome is it when someone starts out a sport like kiting or riding, and you can just see how much progression and excitement they have in their future? Because like I feel like I've almost like reached my max, my potential, and then like now when you kite, you're just so pumped on it.
Dude, it's so cool. Like your progression curve in the beginning is so ramped up that exactly. Like now, you know, you'd have to consistently ride this stuff to get better and better in it and do like gnarly stuff. Whereas when you like just start out kiting, everything is sick. Like literally little like a splash with your board. It's like sickest thing ever.
I'm sure that kiteboarding, there's a lot of logistics, but in big air, there's like we got like the health, like the ambulance you said, like having someone on site, and then watering the course takes like an hour.
Yeah, that's
maintenance. Yeah, maintenance is insane.
Yeah,
like maintenance is a
lips
lot of
are
work.
like little babies. You have to keep them alive.
What else? You got to have all the water, the lips,
wind also.
Yeah, wind, and then you got to have people to ride with, which can be difficult.
Yeah.
Seriously though.
Literally.
And then like the logistics, and then the jumps cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars too. So it's like a lot of moving parts, and I think that's why there's only like 1 or 2 spots in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
100%.
How are you boys doing over there?
5 minutes left in this SD card now for that one.
Okay. Just let us know. If you guys need to go, I know you're probably going to be heading back to the mountains soon, so we can. I'm happy to sit here and chat forever, but it's pretty cool. But you also have these youngsters riding with you now. Well, youngsters, actually not that young anymore. What's Jack? He's
Jack
what, 13.
Dude, O's of frothing.
So you're building a bit of a South African crew now.
Yeah, dude, it's 100% like so many people get so amped on Darkfest here, like being local and having like seeing a local rider riding it, knowing that it's not just like out of reach. It's like everyone's like, dude, the craziest thing is when you put a spot like this with like such a dialed spot like Hellsend, you don't even have to coach kids, dude. Just let them run free in that place. And the level of like youngsters in the sport is growing so hard in South Africa, because when you put really good stuff for them to ride, they obviously just learn how to ride it instantly. Like when you're young, you just pick stuff up. And now, like, if you go to a Hellsend shuttle day, there's literally kids you've never heard of doing like the big line there. You're like, who's this kid? How is he doing the big line? I wouldn't even want to hit it now. It's so windy. And they're just like launching it and stuff. So like, even our local downhill races, we've like doubled in numbers. Everyone's like, you know, like these kids, I always kind of forget, but like kids froth hard for this stuff.
Matt, if you had to give some advice to your younger self, who's just starting out and in riding and stuff, what would you say to them?
My younger self?
Your younger self. Man,
I would say it's going to work out. Like, don't stress so much. It's just going to work out.
Patience.
And just enjoy it. Yeah, that's what I would say. Because there were some moments like, man, like one time after that loop crash, I thought I'd never ride my bike again. Like, ever again. And like, I was pretty bleak for a bit. So telling that guy, like, hey man, it's going to work out. You know, that would be, you know, pretty serious. I even do that sometimes, actually. Think back, because those moments are just insane. You ever been hurt like crazy?
Yeah, I've done knee, I've done ACL, MCL, meniscus. I'm pretty much walking on bone on my one leg. Which is
that's pretty stock standard for kite surfers. Honestly,
for
kite surfers, that's stock standard.
Nice, man, nice.
Well, if you've seen Matt's got a brand also, what did it say? Big
hair is not a crime.
Big hair is not a crime. Yeah. In Canada, it is a crime. A little bit. Yeah. South Africa too. This place almost got shut down.
Just because it's too much risk?
We move too much earth. Like what it is, no, I'm not even joking. It's so, we move so much earth to build these jumps that it's like classed as a mine. And you have to have like special mining permits from the government. It's really expensive. And the government kind of like scans the earth every like 3 months looking for like big disturbances in earth. And they saw this and sent someone.
No way.
And then they closed it. They tried to close it down, but luckily the guy actually liked mountain biking and was a fan of Darkfest.
Cool. That's all.
The nature conservation guy was literally a mountain biker. He was the guy. So.
They or else it would have been shut down.
Wow.
Yeah. So my spot that I just opened up, like that's my biggest worry, because those fines are like, they're not little fines.
For mines.
It's like $100,000 fine, you know.
Is there, what do they work on, like per cube of sand moved, or?
Yeah, it's a certain footprint.
That's, you wouldn't think that. I mean, that's
And then
Because I remember when we were building the rocket launches, we pretty much had a mine here. It was just like trucks running.
It is
we
like
literally
mining.
had like tipper trucks and 20 tons just dumping sand for like a week.
It's
It was
just
like
like
a
mining,
mine.
yeah.
how big is your piece of land?
20 acres.
That's
It's huge, dude.
Big air, 20 jumps.
An acre jump.
acre of jump.
Yeah.
Is it on a hill or?
Yeah. It's
Daniel.
similar to this.
So did you choose your piece of land based on what you
wow.
Yeah.
playground?
Yeah, so Theo was saying that he wouldn't want to ride
Just
it
a
all
beer,
year.
please.
Me, I feel like actually like a beer.
Anyone want a beer? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Okay, 2 please.
Yeah, so
3 if you can.
a couple of years ago, I was like looking at this stuff, and I was like, man, like if I could ride this every day, like think about what could be done, you know. And so I tried to do it at home, and then realized that there's just so many roadblocks. So I just like was like, okay, I'm gonna have to own it. So then I just went to work and bought it myself, and now like no one can say no, you know. And if the government wants to sue me, it'll be me against me against the government.
I'll just empty the bank accounts on ramps before, and then
No,
they can sue
yeah,
me
but
for
like
nothing.
the thing is that like landowners don't want to take that risk because they might lose their land. But me, I have the land. My only reason I have the land is to build jumps. So I'm going to take the risk for sure.
So where do you see like now that you own your own piece of land, you can build pretty much whatever you want. Where do you see the future of mountain biking in say 10 years?
You know, it's hard to say because the sport's going in a lot of different directions. But if it keeps going like this in big air, I don't even know. I don't even know what to think. I think that like maybe like 110-foot backflip wouldn't even get you into the event. You'd be just like, you know, like that wouldn't even cut it. But who knows? Because these, like, I don't know what the future of big air is. It's like
I was
big
just
air-
thinking now, like it's so savage because like technically you can go as fast as you want into something, and then like it's not as though we you know, like defying the laws of physics. So like you could, like I mean, we're doing 80. You could just make a steeper in run and just make a bigger jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you could just go and go and go. Like I don't really know what the limit is.
I'm hesitating cracking the spear. I haven't had a drink in a month.
Well, then don't do it.
Probably
Yeah.
won't. Save for afterwards.
Don't let us peer pressure you.
So yeah, because also like if you got into the last year, you had a 90 foot, and you just added like 20 foot onto that in 1 year. There's the next year going to be another 20.
Yeah, that's already what
Well-
Istead was saying. He was like, well, we'll just take away the 90 and put one even further back. And I was like,
Well, you couldn't because you need the run in and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just going to keep growing. In order for it to grow, there's just a lot of things that have to get put into place. I think that there needs to be another like big funder of it because it's so damn expensive.
Like an outside industry sponsor kind of.
Yeah, like there needs to be like another Red Bull or another Monster. Monster, Red Bull are like pushing it. Monster's doing a better job than Red Bull, but the budgets are still bleak, you know, and they're not really enough. So I think that there needs to be like some sort of outside force
Isn't there the Audi lines
Brand.
or something?
Yeah, RD9s, they also do a good job of like funding that stuff and making it insane bold and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think
But it's not really
the companies
big air.
from like those the companies from those big what's the word, more like public, you know, like Pick and Pay or, you know, Common or banks or, you know, car companies and stuff, more general.
Basically what I'm saying though is like the spots cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and unless that gets sorted out, it's hard to say what the future of the sport will be, you know.
And it's also kind of hard for
Yeah.
the athletes because it's an expensive sport. You have to travel to all these places, and I mean, if you haven't got like a really good sponsor, like a big industry sponsor, then you're kind of struggling to make ends meet.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
Mate, Tom Eisted and who else flipped it? Hodgie. Tom Eisted is on a 300-pound Giant Glory from like 2017 that he bought second hand off Facebook Marketplace.
Is that the one that says Glory and
Yeah.
then there's whole handwritten on it?
Dude, it was literally a 300-pound frame from Facebook Marketplace, and he's literally testing a 110, and he can't get like a bike sponsor deal, and he's flipping a 110, and Hodgie's using his girlfriend's old bike. Those are the two, man.
Is that why it's purple?
Yeah, it's got like purple forks and stuff because it's her old bike, and he just like, and they are like, yeah, dude, like those are so crazy, bro.
That's really sick, eh?
That's insane to hear.
That's
Like,
really
can you imagine being this bully that's been on like Facebook Market or like riding, be like, oh, this Giant Glory's not good enough for me, dude. I need to upgrade. And Tom Eisted's like, yeah, please, thank you, 110.
Wow. So it's obviously making riders look for other routes and stuff. So you, for instance, you have your podcast, your YouTube channel, and then you have your own merch brand also now.
Mm-hmm.
So does that kind of like help support and grow what you're trying to do?
Yeah, totally. I think if you're in action sports now, you need to be like super diverse in your content. Like you got to be like kind of touching everywhere, you know? And the more avenues you can get in, the better it is for your career, I think, you know? And like it's really cool with podcasting in general, like just listening to how other athletes are doing it that are killing it. And it really seems that like, you know, getting your kind of content and getting you in all those different channels and having like the riding there too is like, it's the way to do it. Like Kobe Raha's business, I don't know if you follow him, but like the way he's doing his business is super inspiring. And I think if you could copy paste that into mountain biking, you know, it would generate some major revenue, and revenue is the biggest thing holding the sport back now, I think. So like if I could start making like a couple $100,000, it would be great for the sport, you know?
Yeah.
Would push it for
Because
sure.
you can just push your stunts, your projects.
Everything, yeah, everything. And I think that, I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's funny when you think about it, because as you grow up in an athlete throughout your career, like you have certain things in the way. I don't know if you noticed that, like maybe for you. So at first it was like getting into the contest, then it was like doing good at the contest, whatever, and then it was like these certain tricks, and then all of a sudden, like to get better at biking, it was like, oh yeah, you need land. Okay, well, like now I need to learn how to make money. No, seriously, and it's like this big quest to get better at biking, you know, and like now it's resources, you know, so we got to figure out like how to be a better businessman, you know, to get those resources and then pour that into the facility that helps you become a better rider.
Wow, it just becomes so much more complicated because you don't just have to have good natural talent, you have to have good support, you have to be an athlete and actually train.
Yeah,
and
big air is complicated, man. It's like a lot
and
of
you've got to
things.
start your own brand, build your personal brand.
Make some cash.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's just action sports, and that's what's so cool. We were talking about generations, you know, every generation has its own struggle, its own battle, and now we get to talk about it, and everyone gets to know, and it's pretty cool. Before it was just a secret, right?
Yeah, everyone
No,
was so
like no one know, because they didn't do this.
It's almost like you're laying out the blueprint to.
But big air is sick. Big air is the sickest thing. Like for mountain biking, like I don't think there's anything sicker. Like I don't know about your Instagram, but like when I post here, like it literally, like I did 3 posts here last year, and those 3 posts did better than all my social media combined for the whole year.
Wow.
10 times, like
shit.
10 times better.
Dude.
Like it was insane.
What were the clips of? just
Just
POV.
anything here, just is the
Just did a
sickest
run
thing.
down the course. And then I could go home and train for 3 months to learn a new trick in the skate park. Get like 2 likes. Or you could just drink a coffee here and
Dude,
go to the
literally
top.
get like a top 20 at a World Cup and people are like 20th, well done. I think it's just because racing is like hard for people to understand. Like hitting a corner 0.2 of a second quicker is like, you really need to know what you're doing. I mean, like visually, like, wow, that guy was quicker. Whereas here, it's just like 110 foot, baby, huge. You know, it's just easy to understand. I suppose it's the same thing with kiting. When you see Aussie do tricks going, like, who really knows what's happening there?
Yeah.
Not me. But like, if you see somebody like boost and do a huge board off Superman, you're like, huge.
Yeah, well, that's the amazing thing about big air, which is the same as what kiteboarding now is. Used to be about freestyle, where you're doing lots of handle passes, wearing wakeboard boots, was lots more similar to wakeboarding. And now with the birth of big air kiteboarding, it's like now there's crowds and people and sponsors coming towards it, because you can look better than a guy who's world champion just by jumping, just doing a straight jump. Not that it's like it's a little bit more complicated than that, but your average person's like, wow,
Yeah.
it's got the wow factor.
Big air is the sickest thing. Cross genre.
I think also here the vibe, like at a World Cup, everyone's racing each other, so it's like everyone's mates with each other, but it's like it's all right. Here is like 25 of the sickest guys ever. Everyone's a lekker, and you like
it's
if
you
somebody,
against you. It's you against you here.
yeah. But even like everyone here is like trying to help each other. So like you literally be taking a shuttle up and you just hear people going yeah, and you're like, somebody must have done something. You know, everyone's like just for good times and vibes. You know, it's like such an easy week.
But it was insane because Chase and I were actually talking about that earlier, saying like someone was about to hit the 110, like I wasn't going fast enough, whatever, and one of the guys like put his bike down, walked to him, and he's like, oh, you need to do this, go a little bit faster. Do
Yeah,
it,
dude.
Yeah, it's like it's such a, I don't know if it's unique to this event because there's no podium, maybe that's a different, but that doesn't exist in kiting. Like everyone's trying to do their tricks in secret to bring them to the competition.
Yes.
Really? Damn. Yeah, I think big air is just so dangerous that it creates like
you
a
can't.
camaraderie.
Yeah.
And when someone crashes, you know, there's a good chance that they're going to the hospital and they'll be off the bike for like a really long time. So I think that kind of creates.
You don't
like
want to see somebody crash or
yeah,
anything.
it creates like just a brotherhood, bit more brotherhood to the danger maybe. And also it's a pretty exclusive event. Like they work hard to pick the right people to be here, you know, to make sure that the vibe is good, you know, for the sport.
Are you always a bit nervous each year if you're going to get an invite in your mailbox?
Yeah. Actually, still every year Sam sends me an email or something, and I'm like, like I should like me in by now, but I'm always like, yes.
Well, for me, you never know how long the event's going to be around, you know. Everything's got an ending, so if it happens another year and you're lucky enough to go, it's just it's a blessing.
It's amazing. How different is your Instagram to your real life?
I try and keep it like as similar as possible, you know, because like I feel like if you're always trying to put up a persona, that can take a lot of energy, and life is a lot of energy. So like,
I actually feel like my fucking Instagram's worse than my life, because my life is actually so good that I feel bad about just being like, how is this guy having so much fun 24/7? Like, if I actually just posted what I did all the time, people would be like, you get a job, or please like come work at my job.
guilty pleasure.
like golf course, kite surfing, mountain biking, It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious.
I actually wish I
You
could
might have pink bike comments on your Instagram like, this guy, put him to work.
Put on the work. But it's true, like even, dude, think about all the fun you have here where you like you don't take your phone out, you just like, like when we're having a party at night, whatever, like nobody actually sees how good this event is. They think because they see some clips that it's crazy, but like actually we having way more fun.
It seems like you guys are just having the ultimate time. It's so good to be here every time I get you.
Yeah, you want to have fun. Life is fun, eh?
Yeah.
You don't want to make life suck.
Only got one chance at it, so make it count.
Oh man, well this has been epic. I could talk to you guys all afternoon about this stuff, but just to give this podcast context, these guys have been riding for hours all morning and having a quick break, and then back to the mountain. The guys going to stand in afternoon session.
Actually, we got a big dinner tonight.
But yeah, so there's actually you got
Big dinner.
rain coming tomorrow. So
There's rain coming
Huge rain
tomorrow.
coming tomorrow, so this is like a mandatory chill day. So after actually 4-5 days riding this stuff non-stop, I'm so amped for some rain tomorrow. Full chill.
Yeah.
Maybe take the boys to Musenberg and go get some fucking pits.
get these guys in the water, they're like drowned rats.
You've never seen these guys be so good at biking and so trash at surfing. It's so funny.
Oh, that's amazing. Man.
Literally,
Yeah,
Sam
I
Reynolds
pay money.
doing the world's gnarliest 90-footer and then getting on Musenberg like, yeah! And he's like surfing a foamy, like, yeah! So yeah, big chill day tomorrow.
Nice. Well, it's been a pleasure to chat to you guys and watch you throw down in a place that is just so amazing. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how the rest of the week comes on.